Now I'm able to. Okay, good evening, guys. So now we have a rider Josh with us. Right, Josh, unmute. Hello, unmute yourself. Yeah. So now we have a Josh here and we have a Sriram here. So Sriram is a moderator of a today meeting, and we are introducing a rider Josh. He's recently completed his journey Bangalore to Singapore. So
No, Vijayawada to Singapore.
Vijayawada to Singapore. So
Yeah.
welcome, Josh, and definitely we want to hear your story. So now I'm handing over to the Sriram.
Yeah. So thanks, Josh, for joining us. Thanks everybody for joining in. So we'll keep it. I know most of you are muted now, so maybe after sharing his experience, we will open it up for more questions and make it a more interactive session rather than just being a one-way stuff. So Josh, what I would request is maybe if you can start off by sharing your experience in terms of how did you plan the ride, what was the, how did it all come together, and maybe the experience of the ride, right? So if you can start with that, then maybe we'll slowly start taking some questions. So we'll do that. So guys, while talking, if you have any questions, you can put it on the chat box. And we will also, of course, open up the meeting room for everybody to talk so that you can also ask your questions directly. All right, Josh, over to you. I'll not.
Okay. Hi, guys. Good evening, everybody. And thanks for brother Ashish Singh and Dev all. And it's a nice being here, guys. And my dream is to see many riders to come up and to ride from India to other countries, because I stay in Northeast. I see many riders coming from out of country, and I was like, wow, this is so amazing. And then I was thinking that why not an Indian can ride to other countries. Then I started working on it, how to travel overland to other countries, because I already ride all over India twice. And then I've been to Nepal, I've been to Bhutan, and the other countries which are left is Myanmar and also. But when I started searching the information, it's very sad to say this, because I contacted few of the people who already went to Singapore by road, but they never have a time. Or some people, even once I told them that I'm gonna ride from India to Singapore, I need your help, guys, and they suddenly blocked me. I don't know for what reason. These things made me very furious, and I thought, like, okay, we need to make a platform. And then I started searching in Google for so much time, and there is no proper information. Then I thought it's every rider's right to travel overland. And then I thought, okay, I have to put an information, because there will be many riders like me who are waiting to get the information. So then I started working. It took for me 8 months, literally 8 months to work on it. Then I started getting in touch with WIIA Mumbai, Western Indian Automobiles Association. Then I started working, and it took 8 months. Finally, then I started my trip in Jan 10th. At that time, because I have no proper guidelines, I end up paying so much of money to get a permit with emergency. That is the reason it costed me a lot. But right now, I can help other riders to do it. So really, it's my dream that I can reach out to the many riders, and I want them to give the free information. And really, I'm my heart full of thanks to brother Ashish for conducting these kind of meetings, so that we can reach out to the many riders. So that's what, guys. Brother Sriram, over to you.
Okay, so can you tell us what was the route that you took? Probably, I think one of the other aspects also, I had 2-3 things that I wanted to probably check. One is what was the route that you took? What was the duration of the trip? Was it completely pre-planned, or were you flexible? And finally, I think a lot of young riders also in the group.
Okay.
So, what was the budget, and if whatever you can share, right? How did you go about planning this, and what was the entire group, if you can touch upon
okay, that's fine. So I started my trip at the time. I started from India to Singapore. I went to Myanmar. At the beginning, I thought of going to Thailand, Thailand to Laos, Laos to Cambodia, and back to Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, then ride bike straight. But because I have no clue that Thailand brought a new law, every overland rider, other than Malaysian, Myanmar, and Singapore bikers, all other overland riders need to have a special permit to enter into Thailand. I have no clue about it. I thought if I have a carnet, I can travel to any country. But when I was reaching even to close to Shillong, then I came to know that to enter into Myanmar, we need to take a permission ahead. Without that, we cannot enter into Myanmar. Then it's like a God's miracle for me that somebody gave that information all of a sudden. So then I started applying for permit, and I wasted around like 6 days in Thailand because we need a special permit to enter into Thailand. And then after that, instead of going to Laos and Cambodia, I changed my plan because I want to attend the Asia's biggest bikers fest, and I can proudly say that I was the first Indian to attend the Asia's biggest bikers fest in the 23 years of their history. And it's a very amazing moment for me to speak among 10,000 bikers all over the world. They are attending there, and I was on the stage, and they gave me a chance to speak about my country and my tradition. And it was amazing thing, and I forgot all my pain riding there. And not only that, I received a memento from the mayor of Pattaya, and he was also surprised that a Indian riding a bike all the way from India to Thailand and attending for the bikers fest. So it was an amazing experience. And then after that, like I traveled from India to Myanmar, Myanmar to Thailand, Thailand to Malaysia, Singapore, back to Malaysia, then Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, back to Thailand again, and Myanmar and India. Basically, I'm a social worker. When the Malaysia was running out of face masks, one of my friend was coming from India. I brought 3,000 face masks, and I distributed that 3,000 face masks in Malaysia for free of cost. Even the Malaysia newspaper was, they wrote about me that a biker came from India and he did a charity. I felt so happy. That brings pride of my country. And there are some Malaysian bikers who took me, they rode with me, and that's what happened. And one of the toughest part to enter into Singapore, I enjoyed each and every country to ride, but Singapore is the one of the toughest place where you need to park your bike in the Malaysian border. Then you need to travel by cross the border and travel to Singapore Automobile Association. You stamp your carnet, you get this permit, inner line circular permit. Then you come back again to the Malaysia border. Then you will ride the bike back to Singapore. Like normally every country, what you happens, you go to the passport, you stamp in your passport, then you go to the custom office, you stamp in custom thing, and then you enter into the country. It's a very happy thing. And coming back to the carnet you have to apply from Western Indian Automobile Association. Normally they charge 200% cost of the bike, and 5 pages carnet is 88,500. But what we can do was, like for me, to my Royal Enfield, they charge me 1 lakh as a security deposit, and 5 pages carnet is around 88,500, and 10 pages carnet is around 1,18,000. Normally, to enter into Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, and Laos, we don't need a carnet. But to exit India, carnet is mandatory.
Okay.
I say this again.
What is the relevance of the number of pages?
Bro, come again, bro.
For carnets, you said that there are different costs, right? So how does somebody decide what is the number of pages that he needs?
Like, bro, carnet is the bike passport. We can say it as a bike passport. Carnet is like a bike passport, and the 5 pages carnet is good to enter 5 countries.
Okay, so that you can only get one page, one stamp per country. So that's
Yes, when you
how
are
many
exiting,
countries
when
you
you are entering, they will stamp in one side. When you are exiting, they will stamp in other side.
can.
So what I suggest was 5 pages carnet. If you are riding only in Asia countries, 5 pages carnet is good enough. But
Right.
I thought of going further, so I took 10 pages carnet. But
Alright.
since the corona was affected very badly, I need to ride back to India. So it has given me a very good, what you call that, very good experience. So, but wherever I go, the corona was following me. But by the grace of God, I was not affected. Actually, I planned to go to Vietnam, and the Vietnam at that time it was a high peak stage. The corona and the borders are already closed. So what happens was like 5 pages carnet is good enough to travel within Asia. So the carnet is like a bike passport, but to enter into Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, you don't require a carnet.
Okay.
But to exit out of India with your bike, carnet is mandatory.
Okay.
Without carnet, you cannot exit India. So when you are entering into Myanmar, Myanmar government has a separate rule. You have to apply permit, special permit, 15 days ahead of time. Um, Brother Jomin is a very good guy. I shared about his details as well in the my Facebook page and in our group as well. So I'll be, if you need any information, just get to the group. You will get all the information. Or the Ashish, brother Ashish, and Sriram brother are best guys to get in touch. So what happens was Jomin is a very good tour guide. You will, like, I paid for to cross from India border to the Thailand border, like from Indian Myanmar starting border to enter into the Thailand border. It takes 4 nights, 5 days.
Okay.
Okay. And every day we will be riding for 300 kilometers to 400 kilometers. So when my tour guide Jomin told me that, bro, we have to ride 300 kilometers, I said, normally it was not so far as 1500 kilometers. I told Jomin, hey, what do you think? I am an Indian rider. I can cover that 1500 kilometers within 2 days. Then he said, brother, I understand you are such a wonderful rider. Don't be hesitate. First you enter into Myanmar, then you see it. And later on the first day of ride, I said, brother Jomin, so sorry for showing my attitude. And thank God you just kept 300 kilometers, per day. And it was really hectic ride, because there are small bikers. They don't even have mirrors. They don't care for the mirrors. They remove the mirrors, and if they feel like turning the bike, they just turn. And by mistake you hit them, even if it is their mistake, you end up paying 500 to 600 US dollars, depends on your bike. How costly is your bike, that costly you will pay. That's what happens in Myanmar. And Myanmar tourist police are very awesome. So they charge me for 4 nights and 5 days, they charge me 450 USD. So this 450 USD includes breakfast and your special permit and your special number plate of Myanmar and your hotel stay, tour guide and escort vehicle. And you will be riding 6 hours in a day, and after 6 hours you will go for sightseeing. So that's what happens in Myanmar. And in the same way, when you enter into Thailand, so Thailand, you need to pre-apply at least 20 days ahead of time. They required special permit from the Land Transport Department. There was Thailand, from the Land Transport Department of Thailand. You need a permit. Even you have carnet, they don't care. And they are also made a mandatory if there are more than 3-4 bikes in Thailand. Um, Tour guide and escort vehicle is mandatory. But I have a very good friend called Tum. Other people, they charge you around 2000 to 3000, but he will be charging around 600 USD. I mean, other people are around 2000 to 3000 USD. But this guy is very nice guy and a biker friendly guy. He has a company, and he tells the people that they are providing escort vehicle and tour guide. But once you enter into Thailand, they say that you can ride happily anywhere you want. But if you have any problem, just contact us. We will fetch you out. So such a awesome people, and they give us the best route plan as well. And such a caring guy, I can say. So that's what happens. And to enter into Malaysia, all you need to do is, like, you have to pay 2000 Indian rupees to get a Malaysian insurance at the Thailand border. Okay, those who are going, please listen carefully. This is one of the many riders make mistake. Without insurance of Malaysian insurance, Malaysian government will not allow you to enter into Malaysia. They are very bikers friendly. They respect you a lot. Malaysia is one of the best country for bikers. So what happens when you are entering into the Malaysian border? At the Thailand border itself, you see many insurance companies. So you just go there and get a insurance for 3 months, and then you go to enter into Malaysia, stamp in your passport, then go to custom office. When I enter into custom office, it was very hot, and they said, "Sir, please be seated." First time I am seeing a custom officer talk to me like this. He said, "Sir, please be seated," and he said, give him a juice." He was sweating. They offered me a juice, and they asked me, "Where did you come from?" I said, "I'm from India." "Oh my God, you came by bike from India?" Then they said, "Okay, water be, give him a cold water." And they asked me to fill up my water bag. I said, "No, sir, I have enough water." Then they said, "You want to sit for some time in the AC or you want to ride back?" And they said, "I want to sit." Actually, after the custom office, you have to go to JP office. So JP office is like, you have to get international circular permit. So without this, if police catch you in Malaysia, even if your carnet is stamped, if police catch you in Malaysia, you will be in a very big problem. So once you finish the custom office, you will see a JP office. You stop there, you give them your passport, you give them insurance, and you give them the JP, you give them the carnet, and they will ask you how many months, 1 month or 3 months. You can tell them happily 3 months also. And they said like, "Do you want to come inside and sit?" And I said no. And they gave me a very quick international circular permit, and they said, "Happy journey, sir, enjoy your stay in Malaysia." And they even told me which places to visit. Like I really loved the custom officer of Malaysia. He said, "You have to go to this place, Penang, and there is a nice food. These are the places you should stop, and be careful. This line you can follow. If you have any problem, just reach out to anybody." And one of the best thing I like in Malaysia is like, what to say, filling up the petrol. I went to the petrol station, and I waited for 15 minutes thinking that somebody will come and fill up my petrol. And after that, nobody is coming. And right, what do they think of themselves? Why I'm standing here? Nobody is coming. And later I realized that it's just you need to put your card. And somebody understood that I'm new to Malaysia, and they said, "Sir, self-service." And I was like, "What? Self-service? How can I do that?" And they said, "Take out your credit card, put inside, and fill up your own petrol." And I was like, "Oh my God." So that's a new experience for me. So then I did it, and I really liked the Shell Racing Petrol. I filled up and I covered 162 kilometers in 90 minutes. It's an awesome ride with my Royal Enfield 411cc, 162 kilometers within 90 minutes. And Malaysia has an awesome roads. They have a separate line for bikers. No matter what, car people can never into the bikers. And if it is raining, they have a shelters like they have bus shelters. I was thinking, why in this world they constructed this bus shelters in the highway? Who is gonna stop? And later one of my friends told me that, "Josh, these are not bus shelters. This is when it rains, you go under that shelter. This is only for the bikers. If it is pouring out suddenly, you have to go under it. You can ride your bike under that shelter." So that's the place for the bikers. And yeah, Malaysia is awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed in Malaysia. And as I told you, in Singapore, I went happily thinking that Singapore also same thing. I went to Singapore passport, they stamp in, and when I went to the custom office, they said, "Please get out of Singapore because your carnet was not stamped in." And the Singapore's rules are very strict. They made me to push my bike from the Singapore all the way back to Malaysian border. They didn't even allow me to start it. I pushed my bike at least for 2 kilometers because I didn't get any information. I thought I have a carnet as every country. After my passport stamping, I directly stamp my carnet. But later I realized that I need to park my bike in Malaysia border, then go all the way to Singapore, then stamp in your carnet, come back again to the Malaysian border, then you drive your bike. But it is too costly. They charge me, my insurance costed, Singapore insurance costed me around 300 Sing dollars, and international circular permit where Malaysia was free of cost, and they charge me around 68 Sing dollars. After you come back, you need to take a easy pass, and easy pass will be charged as 10 Sing dollars. And if you are like, there are some toll gates, if that toll gate was open and you enter that, you need to pay 80 Sing dollars per day.
Okay.
I hope you guys are understanding. If I'm too fast, you do
maybe
let
for
me
the
know.
benefit of everybody. If we can sort of step back, I think there are some questions also that's come in.
Okay.
Can you tell us what was the process of applying this carnet? Is it
Okay. So
you said that it was with the Western,
India, WIAA, Western Indian Automobile Association.
Got it.
And Ma'am Simran, she is a very nice person.
So
She
where
is
are
a right
is this a process that you can do online?
Yes, online. I mean, like, okay. So before you apply for the Western Indian Automobile Association, the first thing that you need to have a passport, then international driving license. So to get an international driving license, it's not very hard. So what I did, I submitted my local driving license, passport copy, and my visa copy to my RTO office. And normally, according to the Indian rules, within 1 day, they need to issue you. Like, you give the application by morning 9 o'clock, by 1 o'clock or before 5 o'clock, they will give you directly the card. Nothing will come to your house, according to like what I know. So, or else you can apply in online as well. There are some nice, good websites. You will get it for 3 years.
Okay. Sorry, I think we lost your connectivity.
Hello.
International driving license and the bike C-book on your, you need to email to the Western Indian bike. So like guys, so I'll repeat again. So to get in Western, like www.Western Indian Automobile Association, they have a website, www.Western Indian Automobile Association. They have a website. So they have a special page for Carnet. Maybe I will post that. I will write about Carnet in our Facebook page with the proper details and email ID.
Sure.
Those who are planning to apply for Western Indian Automobile Association. So all you need is your passport, your international driving license, pictures of your bike, front, back, all sides, and what are the extra things you are carrying, like clutch plates or whatever the things you are carrying, you have to mention. And then you need to give your bike C-book and all our Xerox copies. You need to email them and they will get back to you. So these are the mandatories for this to get the Carnet.
Now you talked about insurance. Is it?
Brother Sriram, I can't hear you.
Oh, is it? Now can you hear me?
For some reason, I can't hear you.
All right.
Hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. Josh, maybe your volume is.
Hello, Josh.
Brother Ashish.
Yeah, you are able to hear me?
I can't hear any. I can't hear no one.
Okay, I think.
Can you try? Can you chat? Say maybe you can re-log in.
Can you guys hear me?
We are able to.
We can hear you. I'm not sure what.
Log in. Josh, can you re-log in?
You'll have to type in, I think.
Yeah, I told.
Should I? Josh, we can hear you. Okay. But I cannot.
Can you
hear
remove
anyone.
the headphones and see if it's working? So he can't hear us anymore.
Oh, shoot.
Josh,
relog in. Okay, bro. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'll relog in.
No problem. So meanwhile, guys, if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat box and we will try and get Josh to answer all the questions.
Anita raised a hand, so we'll give a chance to her first. Then only one raise his hand in the chat box. So those have a question, just raise their hand.
Yeah, you can raise your hands. You can ask your questions, whatever.
Yeah. Let him join.
Let's just wait for Josh to come back. I think somebody asked a question. It doesn't matter whether our destination countries require Carnet or not. If we cross Indian border, Carnet is a must. Yeah, that's what he told. Carnet is mandatory. That is Sushovan who's asked the question. Okay.
Told guys, anyone made a notes to on how to get a license? We will uploading that video. We are recording that one. We will upload. So Chandan is asked the question. No, Venkatesh. Then
International license, you can do it from your own local RTO.
Josie joined. So we can give you the chance, guys. Those are asked the questions. We can just raise your hand. So
Amita, I am unmuting you. You can unmute yourself. I've asked you to unmute and you can ask your question. So Josh, we have a few questions, so we'll get the participants to ask the questions to you. So Amita from Odisha Baikarni, so she has a question, so she'll probably ask.
Hi, Josh. I'm from Visakhapatnam
Okay.
and Orissa too. Hello.
Yeah, hi Amita, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Acha, my question is, if I am a Rotarian, is it easy to enter the borders because I'm already into international Rotary Club? Hello.
Amita, can you please repeat your question again, please? Sorry.
If someone is a Rotary Club, which is on international level, is it possible or easy for them to enter it with their bikes?
No, Carnet is mandatory no matter what, because even if you are in a member of international Rotary clubs, the customs doesn't accept it.
Okay, so I have to go through all what you have gone through, right?
Yes, exactly. Everybody needs to go through.
Hello.
Yes, everybody needs to go through. Amita,
Okay,
we can
okay.
hear you.
Thank you for sharing your experience. In future, I'll connect with you because I want to ride.
Sure, why not?
I want to ride to
My-
Malaysia.
Sure,
Yeah.
you can. Yeah, I'm always there to support overland riders. Anytime if you need anything, you just let us know. No worries.
Sorry, I think we muted you by then. I'm sorry about that. I asked you to unmute. Can you check?
It's over. My question is over.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Jacob Saab had a question regarding loud exhausts in Malaysia. So maybe you can go ahead, sir.
It's not a question. I just remembered. I've heard, bikes are very loud there.
Maybe an interesting point to discuss.
So I think
Yeah.
many of the Royal
My-
Enfield bikers will be happy.
My bike was very loud in Malaysia, and when I went into Singapore, my lights has been changed, my bike silencer has been changed, and I become very silent. You cannot use even white lights. You cannot use loud silencer in Singapore. Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, you enjoy like anything. You got freedom, but not in Singapore.
So we'll get Chandan, who has a question regarding the best time to travel. Chandan, we've asked you to unmute. You can probably click on the unmute button now and ask a question.
Hi, sir.
Hi,
So
sir.
which is the best time to travel?
Sir, I suggest November, December, January is the best because I traveled in the month of January. The moment I entered into Bangkok, okay, I felt like they put me in a oven because I was using this Alpinestar climate control jacket and the traffic was too huge. And right, we got separate boxes. We cannot just go in. The climate was pretty hot in the sense I was literally feeling that I was in the oven. So for me, I suggest if people want to travel, and every year, February 13, 14, 15, there is a Asia's biggest bikers fest, which is happening in Thailand. And that is the best time if you guys want to travel. Like January, you start your trip from January, finish it by February.
And what will be the expenditure for whole trip, sir? minimum
Oh, sorry. Yeah. This question was asked and I didn't say it. I'm really sorry. Actually, I took 2 months and it costed me around 5 lakhs because no guidance. But now I can happily and proudly say that if somebody is planning, I can make them to do it by 3.5 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Like because I have a friends at the border who is an immigration officers, and I have friends in Malaysia, and if any Indian rider is traveling there, I can help to get an accommodation, or I can suggest them where we can live for less cost and what are the places to cover, and like within how many days we can cover.
And regarding the Carnet, regarding the Carnet permission, we should get before we start the ride or while going through the countries.
Before, like to exit out of India with our bike, we need Carnet. Without Carnet, we cannot exit out of India.
No, sir, I'm asking about particular country, for example, Singapore and Malaysia.
Oh, okay, bro. So this is everybody get confused because I'm very bad at communication. I didn't explain properly. So what happens when you get a Carnet? Carnet is good for 5 countries. That's why I said 5 pages Carnet is valid for 5 countries. So every country you enter, you already have that 5 pages. So when you are entering into Malaysia, they will stamp in 1 page. So once you enter, exit, 1 page is finished. When you enter into Singapore and when it finished, another country. When you come back again to Malaysia, 3 pages only, because Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, they don't require a Carnet, or Myanmar.
Great. We have a question from Sundar Raman. I am trying to unmute you, Sundar Raman. If you can unmute yourself, you can go ahead and ask the question. Yeah, Sundar, go ahead. I don't think we can hear him. So his question was, which countries require tourist guides and escorts? So I think you talked about 4 or 5 countries.
Myanmar and Thailand, tourist guide and escort vehicles are mandatory. And Thailand, we need to get a special permit. But when you are entering into Cambodia, you need to have you have to make sure which border you are entering and which border you are exiting. And once they enter, you need to exit only from that borders. You cannot exit from other borders. But Malaysia, you can enter from any border, you can exit from any border. And for my suggestion, please have stamp visas. In some borders at Malaysia, they don't have e-visas. So I suggest stamp visas are best if you're planning to go.
So I was asking a question before you got left by the time others asked questions. So
Yeah.
insurance, right? So there is a travel insurance that you can take for yourself. Does when you spoke about insurance that you're taking from the border, do you think your vehicle would require an additional insurance when you're taking it outside the country? Or
Yes, sir.
why did you have to take an insurance from every border? Could you not have done it from India?
No, because right, different countries has a different rules. So like it will be very easy, because if you are taking an insurance from here, they need to enter into their systems, and if that system does not accept the insurance which we take, you have to come back all the way back. Because when you are taking, because they don't entertain, and Singapore is one of the country where they don't want foreign riders to enter actually, because they even control their own people by not buying many cars. Before you buy a car, you need to buy the number plate first, and then you buy a car there. So that's what happens actually. So that is the reason they don't entertain, and they want insurance buy from their own country, so that the country will get money. Like if we are buying here and again we need to buy there, then it will be double cost for us.
So this is a separate insurance for the bike.
Yes, exactly, sir. Because I had insurance for my bike as well, and they made me to buy another insurance in the border.
So Jacob has another question. You can...
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi Josh, I just want to ask you, what is the legal conditions in the other countries in terms of, like, in case of an unfortunate incident of an accident, how does the police treat you? Do you go to jail, or do they keep you, or insurance money is enough to cover, or what is the reaction of locals? How does it work?
So they suggest us, that is the reason we need to take a insurance, brother. So like, recently these Chinese people has really troubled Thailand people. They came with the 4x4 vehicles. around 40 members together, like 44 into 4 vehicles, and they just rode, they didn't follow the rules and regulations, and because of that everybody is suffering now. So now they need to, like, every biker who enter into Thailand, you need to pay, show the government 300,000 of Thai bahts insurance, like in case if you hit a vehicle or any vehicle hit you, as for your protection and for your safety, and they don't want to get into any trouble, so the insurance is mandatory. But when it comes to Cambodia and Laos, you have to do jugaad. Like what I can say was, at the border also you need to pay them some money, because normally Laos, they don't entertain big CC bikes. But if you are going with your big bike at the border, like they charge me around $10 for no reason. But I said, okay, let's, no point of getting into mess, so just pay $10. And like Cambodia also is very friendly, but you have to be anyway careful, sir. Like Malaysia, Myanmar also, you are covered with insurance. If anything happens, the tour guide will be in problem, you won't have a problem. They question your tour guide, and same thing in Thailand as well. But Malaysia, your insurance covers you, and same as in Singapore. Singapore is very strict for it. That's what, sir.
Okay. So we have a question from Manju who's raised your hand. So Manjunath, go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Hi, Jose.
Hi, sir.
My question was about the validity, but someone has asked, and you are told, sir, that is for 1 year.
Yes.
And that is one. And one more thing, without proper visa in our hand, we could not apply for international license. Is it correct?
Yes, sir. You need to have a visa, any country visa.
Okay.
You can get international license with any country visa, and you can ride in any country, not a problem. And this international driving is also valid for 1 year, and the carnet is also valid for 1 year.
Okay. And one more thing, if I have a insurance of international insurance which is made in India, so can I take this insurance, or every time I should take a new insurance everywhere?
Every time new insurance, or no point of buying an insurance in India, because you are paying anyway to the Myanmar tour guide for your insurance as well. And Thailand also you are paying $600, and Malaysia you are paying, and Singapore also you are paying. All your insurance covers is Cambodia and Laos. And Cambodia and Laos, your normal bike insurance will be okay. They don't ask you unless somebody stops.
Okay. Thanks, Jose, for your information. We will get back to you very soon, I think so.
Thank you, sir.
So we have another question from Ankit. Ankit, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. Thank you for all the informations, and thank you for riding such a long journey. So my question is, can we ride with my wife as a pillion? Is it allowed, and is it safe?
Yes, safe, very safe, bro. And they respect you. So I don't know who gave this information about some Myanmar. They said Myanmar people, they kill you the moment you enter into the border. They are amazed to see our big bikes. Even a Himalayan is a big bike there. And one thing I'm so proud that when I enter into Singapore, everybody thought that I'm the richest man in the world, because the Royal Enfield Himalayan costing there is around 7 lakhs. And they are like, wow, you ride a Himalayan. When I was even riding in Malaysia, and people, they come and they say, bhai, you are riding a Himalayan. And I said, in my country, it's only 2 lakhs, So like, but there in that country, it's very costly, but it's very safe, bro. You can happily ride. And if you are planning to ride with your wife, we will arrange a accommodation or your safety every country you enter. No worries. Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, Singapore, I can assure you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I'll contact you for my ride.
No problem, sir.
We have a question from Samson, who's asked us to ask it on his behalf. So he's saying passport, visa, IDP, insurance, and ICP for Malaysia. What else is needed? And do you have any idea of the insurance cost for an Interceptor 650?
Sure. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah. So apart from passports, visa, and insurance, and the driving permits, what else? What else should one have? Is his question.
Okay, apart from those things, nothing, sir. Carnet, insurance, your passport, money. Money is required, and the petrol in your bike
So there are
and
a
food
couple of
usually.
questions again about money. So can you
Uh-huh.
explain how much was the legal mandatory expense and how much was your personal expense? I mean, approximately. I know it would differ from individual to
Like
individual.
total trip, my cost is like 5 lakhs, 2 months, 20,000 kilometers. And there is no legal such, but in Thailand, I applied for this, what you called honorable visa.
Mhm.
And they have really asked me like, what is your credit card statement and this and that. And later they realized that I was the friend of that chief immigration officer, and they said, sorry sir, we are waiting for you from morning, and we thought it is somebody else. And they gave me my visa and everything that day at the I mean at Thailand border. One of my friends, she is a chief immigration officer, so that's what happened. But actually normally you need to show your credit card statement, your hotel accommodation to get an honorable visa. Malaysia and Singapore, you need to have a multiple entry visas. Single entry visas does not work. You have to have multiple entry visas. Cambodia, you can get honorable visa without any problem. And if you guys are going, if you go to the border, which I suggest, you will like, get a royal entry, because there also my friend is an immigration officer. He will talk to his staff and they will do everything for you, including your customs.
Perfect. So we have somebody on the inside. So all of you can reach out to Josh whenever you're coming in. I think Vikrant doesn't have a question, but I think that's one of the rights. So I'm unmuting you, Vikrant. You can maybe share a snippet while you can have a chat with Josh while he does that. Any more questions? Please feel free to either raise your hands or ask it in the chat.
Hi, Josh.
Hi, bro.
This is Vikrant. Last year in Ladakh trip, we were going to Ladakh, and you're returning, or you're going along with your gang. You're going to Dalhousie, I think. You returned
Yes.
to Dalhousie. We met in
Oh, yes.
Delhi. Along
Yes,
with
yes,
Santosh.
yes.
Hey, hi.
Yep.
Good to go.
Hi, bro. How are you?
So just remember, and I got a confirmation from Santosh. I was talking to Santosh alternately. I said, is this the guy, same guy we met in Ladakh trip? Then he said, yeah, the same guy only.
Oh, good to talk to you, bro. Yes, I remember.
Small world.
Yeah.
Okay. I once again unmuted Manju.
Yeah.
Who's also asking.
Thanks, Sriram. Josh, I have one more small doubt here regarding
Yes,
this
sir.
Carnet. In beginning, you told that there will be a deposit of 1 lakh, and for 5 pages it's 88,000, or for 10 pages it's 1 lakh something. So the deposit amount, when we will get back, once we finish our ride, or after the validity of that 1 year?
No. Anytime you return back the Carnet, they will give you, but make sure your Carnet pages are properly stamped.
Okay, after the completion of the trip, once we come back, where we can give back the Carnet book to the office, and we will get back our deposit amount. That is 1
Yes,
lakh.
sir.
1
Yes.
lakh we will get, and this 88,000 what we pay for five pages, that is
Non-refundable.
That is non-refundable. Okay.
Oh, sorry. I think I was moving on to the next one.
I-
Yeah, finish up. Manju.
Yeah, is it there any GST on that? Because I came to know that they will charge some GST also.
I really, but there should be GST, sir. I'm pretty sure. Like everything included, it's 88,500.
Oh, everything included is
Including
88,000.
GST.
Okay, including GST. No, but someone had told me that it's 1 lakh will be non-refundable deposit, and another 1 lakh will be charges for that. This was the information what I got. So that is why I want to
No, sir.
confirm. No. Okay.
No, but even if you are riding another bike, because my Royal Enfield Himalayan is 2018 model, but if you are riding a bike which is different or lesser CC, your security deposit will be more less.
Okay. So the security deposit depends on the CC of the vehicle.
CC of your bike, cost
So
of your bike.
if we take some Royal, because I ride Classic 350, so for Classic 350 the deposit will be less, and Carnet book charges will be also less.
Yes.
Even the book charge.
No, not Carnet book, but they have a special price for army officials and different people.
Okay.
But actually, to be frank, I was talking to the WIA Mumbai. I am planning to make a ride from Guwahati back to Guwahati, traveling up to Thailand, with including all the permits, hotel stays, and everything within 1 lakh. Actually, I'm
Okay.
working on it. But you can
Oh.
talk to Ma'am Simran. I will share her email ID very soon with our page. Then we can do it, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
So next is, sorry Manju, I'm just switching to the next person.
No worries, sir.
Thank you to you. Varun, you had a question. I've asked you to unmute. You can go ahead.
Yes, hi Josh, Varun here. So,
Hi, sir.
hi. Actually, I got my answer. Yeah, you said Carlet has 1 year of validity.
Okay.
That is my one question. And second question is, once you enter multiple countries like from Malaysia to Thailand, and from Thailand to some other different country, so you need to carry your you need to get your visa from different countries, or it can be handled from India only.
So, sir, for my suggestion, if you can have beforehand multiple stamp visas in
Okay.
your passport, it will be very helpful for you. Otherwise, at visa place, sometimes they ask different kind of documents, and you end up there. But to enter into Laos and Cambodia, you can get honorable visa. They are very friendly and it's easy to make it. Or else, like what I did to enter into Laos, because I am not pretty sure which border I am entering. So I applied from the capital city Phnom Penh. I applied. There was a Laos visa office. I applied there, and you can do it online. Laos, you can do it online. Cambodia also, you can do it online. E-visas, but e-visa in the border which I go, that e-visas are not valid. So you need to get honorable visa and always carry US dollars in your pocket.
Great. So we have Vishwanath Shah who also wanted to share something. Vishwanath, I've asked you to unmute. You can ask a question or Vishwanath Shah.
Hi, Joshua.
Hi, sir.
I'm just a small one, a small age. That's okay. Thing is, I'm planning for till Australia by next year. So I think a few of them said that there is some escorts problem you get, and there are more payments you have to pay for Singapore and Australia. Is that what is the exact payment we need to pay for our bikes to enter Singapore?
No. Singapore, you don't need to pay anything extra. But to go to Australia, you need to clean your bike very well.
Okay.
And once they land it in Australia, if they find even a little bit dust or something, they will send back the bike where it came from. Otherwise, they will charge you around 1,000 Australian dollars to clean it there. And if you need any help with the shipping from Singapore, I can help you out. But mostly, few of my friends, they ship normally from Malaysia, which is easy way and lesser cost.
Yeah, you can't even enter. I mean, New Zealand, even if you have dirt in your shoes, they will take the shoes.
Like Brother Sriram, it's very problematic to Australia. Like in Singapore, you need to clean it like something you are making like a new bike.
Right.
Like you have to open your plates, like engine mudguard and everything. But even after reaching there, even a little bit dust, they will send straight away the bike back to the place. And I think Vishwanath Shah have one more question.
So we'll come back, Vishwanath, 1 second. Arun, you had a question? I've asked you to unmute.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Josh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hi. This is Arun this side.
Yes, sir.
So we are pleased to hear your experience. I have a question. What is your major challenges what you faced in this 2 months when you travel?
So 2 months, the major challenge is one thing is like at one point of time, I feel like nobody was proper guiding. Like, and I was every country I go, I find out new laws and new things. 10 people give me 10 different ideologies, and I was thinking, when I at one point of time I was in a big problem of Singapore, and I contacted one of a major rider. I mean, not can say, like, he already did the trip, and I got his contact number somehow. When I called him from Malaysian border, there are two questions he asked me, like, why you are planning to go to Singapore? It's not so necessary, you write that. And like the things
Okay.
is like, when you are traveling there, because I have no clear what's my next thing. And like I know that like somehow I am doing it, like even when I'm entering from one border to another border, and all I depend is in Google Translation. Like Google Translator is my best friend, who was there with me all the ways. And Cambodia, you cannot. Thailand also, I have a language problem. When you are in the villages, they cannot understand English, but they are friendly. I will share one of my experience. I broke my chain in Thailand, and my chain was completely broken, and I was speed of
Okay.
110, but I was somehow managed to control bike. I parked my bike aside in the highway. I don't know what to do. I just crossed the border, and it happened. And there was a guy, he just come suddenly and stop and ask me, and he understood that I'm a foreigner. And he said that, what is your problem? So I showed him my chain problem. Then immediately he said, come and sit on my bike. So he took me to the Kawasaki showroom. Then what happened? And I clicked the pictures, and I showed my pictures to the Kawasaki showroom. And it was so amazing. They brought my bike, which is 1 kilometer far, and they brought the bike to the showroom. They made me to sit in the showroom and made me give me a good coffee and all. And they cannot speak English. I cannot speak Thai. And they said, sir, this chain pocket was not with us, in Google Translation. And they said, what we can do? I said, please fix it anyway. I need up to Bangkok, because in Bangkok there is a Royal Enfield service center. And such an amazing, lovable people. They fix my chain. And what happens in Thailand or any Malaysia country, after they fix your bike, they round 2 times to around the showroom to check the bike is in good condition or not. Excuse me. So what happened? He checked, and they said, and I said, how much I need to pay? They said, no, sir, we are pleased to have you here. It's a free of cost, and they did it for free of cost. Other than those issues, there is no other issues, sir. And it's, sir, like there are so many challenges. It's your what you call strength. You have your inner strength, right? You can do it. You can do it. In one point of time, I also thought, okay, let me go back. But I said, no. I came all the way here. If I finish this trial, I can help other riders to do it happily, not to feel tense like me. Because now I know which border, what needed to be taken. Or if anybody get problem also, now I have some friends who are riders in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. I can send the help on spot. So that's what. But doing solo ride is really expensive. Actually, solo ride is very expensive. Yeah, no sharing and all, right. So that's what. Other than those things, nothing else, sir. I really enjoyed my trip.
Okay. We have a question from Yamla Babaji also. Sorry, I missed that. It was one of the first questions. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi, sir. I'm good, sir. How are you, sir?
So I just want to know whether we can take a Himalayan or we can take another bike like a Dominar or something like that.
Anything, sir. Anything you are comfortable, sir. It depends on your comfort. Anything you like. It does not matter, because for me, I love Himalayan. I took Himalayan. Dominar also is fine. Like even if somebody interested by doing by Pulsar also, it depends upon their energy. But for me, I really enjoyed, and Malaysian roads are good for fast ride. It's so nice and good, sir. It depends what is like which bike, whichever the bike you are comfortable.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Nice talking to you.
We have a question from Facebook as well. This has been streaming live there. So the question is, could you please tell if 600 USD at Thailand, is that for the permit, and is it inclusive of stay and food, or
No.
is it only a refundable permit?
No, sir. 600 USD is just to get your permit, your insurance only, non-refundable, no accommodation, no food, nothing else. So that is just to get the permit from the Land Transport Department and to cover your insurance if anything happens to you by mistake in Thailand or because of you to somebody.
All right. And the formalities at Laos and Cambodia is.
Okay. So what happens when you are exiting from Thailand? You have to take a slip from the Thailand custom office that you are importing the vehicle from Thailand to Cambodia. So that slip is mandatory. When you enter into Cambodia, you need to show them your passport, your carnet, or just this import slip from Thailand. Based on that, they will issue you a permit for 1 month from the custom office, and you have to make sure that which border you are exiting from the Cambodia. And with, like, if you apply for one border and if you try to exit from another border, they will never ever allow you. You have to ride back all the way back to that border, and you need to exit from the same border. So guys, if you are exiting, like when you are entering to Cambodia and Laos, please be very careful which border you are planning to enter and which border you are planning to exit.
Great. I think we've answered most of the questions. I think the questions from Facebook was from Bhaskar Rai. Sorry, I did not mention the name of the individual. He also asked, as a closing note, maybe, did you visit Vietnam? I think you answered it, but did you have a plan?
Yes, I have actually. I had a plan to visit Vietnam, but now Vietnam become a very commercial. They are charging, like, unless you are a group, you have to, like, even they are charging around $2,000 just to enter. And even in Vietnam, the escort vehicle and tour guide is very mandatory. They are literally making business. Other than India, I can say most of the countries are making business for overland riders. Sachi mein. It was so heartbreaking to say this.
So I think we've answered most of the questions, guys. Unless anybody else has questions, Josh, thanks a lot for joining in. This was great, because generally you don't get to listen to, or somebody share this experience so that it goes on. Vishwanath Shah, as a closing question, maybe this could be the last question. Guys, of course, this is just a forum that we have created. The idea is that you can, reach out to Josh, to our groups, through Facebook, whatever he will, and plan, right? If you're planning a ride, feel free to connect with him, or reach out to Ashish, and, we can connect with him. As an end question is there a, compliance on the BS3, the emission compliance? Can you ride a BS3 in any of these countries, is one question that we have.
See, they don't care for which bike you are riding unless you have a carnet and you have a proper document. So that's most important. Like, based on your BS3, if they issue a carnet to you, they also don't have a problem, especially in Myanmar and Thailand. We are paying to their government a lot of money, a heck lot of money, like, to enter into their country. So what you write, they don't bother. So that's what, before you guys leave from here, just get the permits. Once you get permits, we can. And guys, so that's what. And
great. Thanks a lot, Josh. Thanks for taking time out. I think it was a great discussion.
Yes,
guys,
sure.
as you said, any of you have any questions further, you can continue these discussions offline. We will try and bring more and more sessions as part of Talk Tales. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Ashish, you want to add anything? I think have a good evening and have a good week. Have a good week.
Thanks, Josh, for clearing the doubts. A lot of riders wants to know this information, and detailed information we'll publish on our website as well, so people can go through and read it. And Josh has already shared a number, so we can publish all the account details on the social media, so people can directly connect with him as well. Thanks everybody for joining today.
Thanks, brother Ashish. So nice talking to you all.
Bye. Thanks.
Have a good day.
Joining.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you all. Bye bye.